Nobody had even heard of Bottega Veneta much before the 2000s. Have you? But suddenly, in the past few years, they've become such a huge trend. Even my boyfriend has seen these, which I'll insert a photo here, on social media, and they've gone viral, but then when they've been at the peak of 2.5 million followers on Instagram, they went silent. Stay tuned till the end of this video to learn why and the rise of Bottega Veneta. Get into it. Bottega Veneta is a luxury fashion house from Milan, Italy, and they produce for both genders, ready-to-wear, handbags, shoes, accessories, jewelry, and fragrances. The name literally translates to Venetian shop, and I'm proving it to you here via these screenshots, showing I'm not actually lying, so don't come for me. It was founded by Michelle Today and Renzo Zangiaro, and in 1966, Bottega Veneta, which is a region of northern Italy. There was a problem they faced, however. Sewing machines had needles that weren't long enough to be capable of sewing thicker leather for handbags, so they had to use finer, supple leather such as Napa. And to make the bag stronger and more durable, they developed a signature, iconic, recognizable feature that is so distinct, it makes the bag recognizable to only those who know the brand. If you know, you know. Oh, I'm gonna butcher this. Excuse my Italian pronunciation throughout this entire video, because I took French. I did not take Italian. The intrecciato, which is Italian for intertwined, see here for more Google Translate, showing that it actually does mean intrecciato, is their technique for making the Napa more stronger when you weave it together. And why did they do this? They did this because when you weave things together, it makes things stronger, like safety in numbers. When you're alone, you're weak, but when you have many others with you, like fibers or strings or whatever, twisted together, you become stronger when it's knit together. And how? They cut the leather into strips and weave it together. Chanel could take a thing or two from Bottega Veneta to strengthen their lambskin, which is so delicate. When they started this in the late 60s. And why should we care? We should care because almost every other big luxury brand out there has a logo that's stamped on their iconic bags. Except for Hermes, Bottega does though, like Hermes. The Birkin and Kelly and the first original bag from Hermes, Bleed, has no logo. But beyond that, even the Constance bag from Hermes has that giant H logo, and Bottega really only has the weave style, which is their signature. You don't need a monogram either to represent Bottega Veneta. It's just the weave. It's all in the weave. Like, you don't need a monogram like LV or Gucci. You also don't need any CC or triangle to even recognize Bottega Veneta. It gives you, it also does you a favor, because people who don't know luxury probably can't recognize it without a logo. And amidst a sea of things now with the logo mania craze, it is also still one of those few brands that is still staying understated. It's flashy, but not really flashy. It's a paradox. It makes me think of Coco Chanel and when she said, "Some people think luxury is the opposite of poverty. It is not. It is the opposite of vulgarity," which makes me think of the logomania craze. It is so vulgar to be flashing around your wealth and showing off. I mean, luxury kind of is showing off to show that you can afford nice things anyways, but it's like this elevation of having this comfortableness, and you are comfortable enough to have these nice things, but you don't have to show it. And in a way, showing it is very vulgar. Like, you have to show off to people and create this kind of jealousy in them in order for you to feel satisfied. That in itself is actually kind of an immoral, almost vulgar way of showing wealth. You recognize it not by what it says on the bag, but how it is made. And that is something that is so hard to see in bags these days. The bags tell you what they are. Like, a logo tells you what the bag is. You don't have to do that with Bottega or some of the Hermes bags. Especially with Bottega, it's only the weave. You can tell it's Bottega not because of the logo, but because of the design of the bag, how it's constructed, how it is made, the craftsmanship, the quality, and that speaks volume. That's why their motto is, "When your own initials are enough." And that's enough said. They became popular in the 70s and 80s. 1972, they opened their first store in New York City, in New York, in the United States. And then in the mid-70s, they started making shoes. In 1980, they were picked up by actress Lauren Hutton, and she carried an intrecciato bag in the movie American Gigolo. Wink, wink. Also, it's also been seen on Princess Charlene, Lotus, Jacqueline Kennedy. FLOTUS is an acronym that we use in the US for the First Lady of the United States. Jacqueline Kennedy, Amal Clooney, Nicole Kidman, Cameron Diaz, Rihanna, and more. In 1985, Andy Warhol made a short film called Bottega Veneta Industrial Videotape. Andy was also a very regular customer during this time. Andy was also a regular customer during this time in their first store in New York City. Here's a picture of him kissing a loafer. If that doesn't say he loves Bottega Veneta, I don't know what is. The original founders, Michel Tadei and Renzo Zengario, eventually left the company to Renzo's ex-wife Laura Ragione and her late husband Vittorio in the 90s amidst logo mania. While other luxury brands could whip out and flash their logos, it left Bottega Veneta with nothing to flash, hence their sales went down. The 90s was also when Bottega Veneta launched their ready-to-wear, which I don't know if that was really a good idea. It makes me kind of want to face palm them. Like, what are you doing? Your sales are declining and then you decide to launch ready-to-wear. But for all we know, as far as I know, it could have just been an attempt on their part to revitalize sales, but I digress. In my video, part 1 and 2 of Luxury Globalization, which I'll link above here and in my description, I talk about how Chanel in the 80s also globalized luxury, and they, in order to keep up with the logo mania of back then, about 20 or 30 years ago, they started to blow up their logo and flash it everywhere. And I'm sure a lot of brands kind of started to do the same. But if you want to check that out, check the description and up above here. New member of the Gucci gang bang. Yet even though they had decreasing sales, they were invigorated by Gucci. Gucci picked them up in the 2000s and they saw the potential in Bottega Veneta. They were picked up by Gucci Group in 2001 for $156 million. It explains to me why Bottega Veneta has the coolness of Gucci in it, in its designs nowadays, and in its stride, because it was actually picked up by Gucci. Bottega Veneta has a very edgy style nowadays, which I can attribute a lot to Gucci now that I know this. And new Bottega is just very trendy like Gucci nowadays. The revival of Bottega Veneta was also called their stealth wealth, and it was deemed that by Vogue magazine. Bottega Veneta began to be known for its cabot, Veneta, and knot bags. Thomas Meyer went into their archives. Thomas Meyer is their creative director, I believe, at this time. And he reinvented the rounded bot clutch from 1978, and he named it the knot. It's been made many times over in many different materials, most notable in silk, especially since it was a clutch evening bag, and silk just exudes elegance in my opinion. It's very simple and beautiful, actually. A lot of high street brands reinvent the wheel by getting inspiration from other designers, as well as looking into the archives like he did by bringing back vintage designs. And the trends of late have done that with handbags, most notably Dior with the saddlebag, Gucci with some other designs which I don't know the names of. And even Chanel's Diana/vintage bags have had a resurgence. They used to be only $2K or under $2K. Now, like, with everyone having an interest in vintage again, especially Chanel vintage bags like the Diana bags, which is one of their popular ones, it's like $5K, which is just too much, too crazy. In 2002, Bottega Veneta launched fashion jewelry, and in 2006, they launched fine jewelry. But by 2006, they had made enough to be profitable once again. They opened, oh no, I'm gonna butcher this. Oh boy, I can't read this. I'm gonna butcher this. La Scuola dei Maestri Pelletieri di Bottega Veneta, which means their own specialized school of leather craftsmanship. It is their own specialized school of leather craftsmanship in 2006. Craftsmen trained to learn to preserve the technique, which is the bread and butter of the brand. Sales grew 15 times between 2001 to 2010, and let's just say it was definitely good to be a part of the Gucci gang bang. In 2006, they also launched a 3-year tuition-free training with a 4-century-old Scuola d'Arte e Mestieri di Vicenza. It was a game changer since tuition in the US costs like an arm and a leg. Plus, actually using the dough for good, you know, that's actually a really good school they're partnering up. If it's like 4 centuries old, like 400 years old. I don't know if there's any schools here in the US that are really that old even, but this is Europe, so they've had things for way longer than in the US. But you know, it's a really prestigious school when it's the age of 4 grandmas. 4 grandmas. Do you have 4 grandmas? No, most of us have a max of 2. So that's old. Just kidding. In 2011, La Scuola dei Maestri Pelletier di Bottega Veneta created a 3-month postgraduate course with the Università Nuova di Venezia to train students to advance handbag design and product development. And then in 2011, they launched the Women's Mountain Cooperative's leather workshop for unemployed mountain women, which is an independent artisan. Go girl power. Since 2013, they moved their atelier, which is French for studio/workshop, from Vicenza to Montebello Vicentino, which is a historic 18th century villa. I also really appreciate the work that went into their development of their new atelier in the new location in this historic district, because Bottega Veneta, from my research in this article, said that they decided to use only the most ecologically appropriate materials and plants, adhering to the Leadership in Energy and Environmental Design, aka LEED certification. And let me tell you, from my background in architecture, this LEED certification is a big deal because I've worked at a place before which has tried to get LEED certification. It is dang hard and the paperwork is so much. And the fact that this brand actually went and decided to go above and beyond by doing this really is impressive. Like, I can't tell you how hard it is to get LEED certification. There's just so much paperwork. And paperwork. None of us like paperwork. Raise your hand if you like paperwork. I thought so. The materials and resources used to build and restore the foundation were obtained from ethical sources, quote, and more than 75% of the structure was restored rather than destroyed, then rebuilt, and this ensured minimum waste, while the little waste that was produced during the restoration was carefully collected and disposed of in order to protect the land as well as the removal of local pollution problems. Quote, since 2018, Daniel Lee has been creative director, Bart, because geez, that name, is the CEO since September 2019, and Kering Group owns Gucci and Bottega Veneta. So Kering Group owns Gucci and Gucci owns Bottega Veneta. In June 2018, Thomas Meyer stepped down as creative director and Daniel Lee became the new director, along with that hot, sexy British accent. He's cute. And then he launched the famous soup dumpling bag, which we all know. Picture here. And the rest on social media was history. He launched Bottega Veneta into a new age with this dumpling bag, the Bottega Veneta padded cassette bag with and without the chain. I actually think the trend this year in 2021 has been about the chain and the edginess of the large chain. I also feel like even though this bag is very new and trendy, it can also be pretty classic because how Bottega Veneta designed its bags is with just a simple weave, no gaudy logos. And this is a very simple, plain, understated bag. And so I agree with Bargain Hunting Blonde in the padded cassette bag is very classic. I watched one of her videos recently which talked about it and I agree. The chain detail this past year has been very big. The big chain trend has kind of been coming off of the padded cassette bag and also the dumpling bag as well, because Bottega Veneta sparked all of this, I feel like. In addition, the Bottega Veneta square heel sandals, which are called the Lido sandals, which are really odd looking. My boyfriend knows about these, and he's not even known about Bottega Veneta. He's seen these. That's how widespread Bottega Veneta is, guys. The Bottega Veneta Mini Jody, like the little one. And it was also a smart move, I feel like, of the Gucci gang to reinvigorate Bottega Veneta, because at the end of 2019, Gucci sales started to drop, because at the end of 2019, Gucci started losing sales and Bottega Veneta became their breadwinner, their new breadwinner in Kering Group, and started to uplift the Kering Group again because Gucci was just not hitting their sales targets. Now you see it, and now you don't. After widespread social media presence and spread, the thing that made them super trendy and viral, you'd think they would continue to use the platform to gain more attention and feed off the success. But if you thought so, you'd be dead wrong. In January 6th of 2001 of this year that I'm filming, Bottega Veneta's Instagram account disappeared off the face of the earth. On Instagram, that is. They had 2.5 million followers, which my Instagram doesn't have nearly that much. Which, shameless plug, follow my Instagram here, to my Instagram above and below in the description. But anyways, they had 2.5 million followers. Why did they do it? I'll give you guys a few seconds to speculate. Surprise, surprise. It's marketing! Give you that surprise now. Bottega bravely made the decision to rely on ambassadors, influencers, and clients and fans to spread spread the word for them via social media. So basically, they took a very laissez-faire approach, which is French for let do, or roughly let it be in English. So instead, they released a quarterly digital online magazine after the move. Was this smart? Riddle me that. Yes, actually. Because when we hear a brand talk about themselves, we don't trust their word, and we may have underlying doubt that they're trying to sell you something, because they are. It's like you're going to find a good plumber and you look up reviews for the plumber on the plumber's website itself. Of course they're going to be good. Totally not biased. I think it's because of the peer effect that Bottega Veneta thinks this will work. Because it's backwards reasoning, but this publicity stunt really gained them attention. Since they did it at the height of their popularity with all the eyes on them, it's really a shock when you suddenly see blackout. And it is certainly going to be noticeable to the current followers, and it will also make fashion/press news to people who don't even follow Bottega, because this would just blow up across the fashion industry in general and possibly in other news sources that aren't necessarily fashion. So the people who don't know Bottega are knowing it on top of the people who already do know Bottega. Oh, my light died. So in the end, it actually resonated with the luxury fashion press. So yes, it was smart. Thanks for watching till the end. It really means a lot for someone to watch all the work that I put into this video until the end. And you try to make a long video sometime, and you appreciate learning about the legacy of Bottega Veneta, then please like this video and subscribe, because I come out with weekly videos about couture, style, and analysis. And if you love this, then you won't want to miss the next one. Tell me down in the comments down below, have you gotten a better appreciation for Bottega Veneta besides the viral social media presence that they have? And will you be buying Bottega Veneta next? Take care, leave me your thoughts down in the comments below, and bye!